Hello, folks. How you doing? I'm back with you again today. I would like to talk about the human as mathematical progression. You know, mathematical progressions like geometric progression, etc. So there was a gentleman who said that the human being or our species was a finality. That could be taken to mean that we were the final episode. We could go no further than the present generation in terms of our species. That's it. We had reached the finality, according to what he said. You know. But what he said could be taken in, well, in different ways. You see. Perhaps he meant that the human being simply could not progress anymore intellectually, etc. That was it. We're at the top of the line of all the species on our planet. Right now, the present generation. He's deceased at this point. But the time he said this wasn't that long ago, probably about 50 years ago. So that would include us. We would be in that category, in that region of which he was speaking. You know. But then again, we know that the human being has the capacity to exceed what the average human being aspires to, which is to have pleasure in this life, to live a comfortable life, etc. So the human being can go beyond that. Okay? And to even approach the realization of eternity and the living in eternity, to recognize, to realize the living in eternity itself. Living one's life like that. Okay. Perhaps that's what he meant. Okay. So we'll look at this this idea of progression. Okay. And we'll come to the conclusion, at least I have, that indeed the human being lives in a type of progression. And that's told to us in the mythology. For example, we have the circle, and we have the child and the father, where the father is his own child. Okay. But as the child, for example, starts and goes around the circle, he becomes the father. You see. And then there's the child, continues on as the child. The father continues on as the child. He reaches a point in the circle, then he continues, but he continues as the child. This is a progression. This can be put in spiral form. You know, the spiral, it goes up as it goes around. progression. You see, this can be put into, let's say, mathematical terms, as we have geometric progressions, etc. So we can put this in mathematical terms. And it tells us that at each turn in a spiral, there is progress. Not much, but there is progress. Okay? So this goes for every generation. The present generation, okay, we have the circle, there would be progress. Progress. We go around the spiral, progress. As the spiral continues, it creates power. That is the progress. The little leap forward each time we complete the circle. So this tells us that generations, 10,000 years from now, will be at a far higher point on the spiral than what we are in the present generation. Therefore, we're not the finality. They will have progressed to a higher level than what we are. They will possess the same genetic makeup, you know, the same genes that we have, even though they may be formulated in a different way. Same genes, different formation. Would be different. Would be quite different. You see, when these things happen like that. So, where's the end? Where does this end at for us? Well, according to the circle, we will return to where we were. But when in other words, the beginning of the human species, we will return to the beginning of the human species. But because we're dealing with a spiral, that once we reach a certain point in the spiral, there is a little leap forward. Then when we return to the future of the past generation, the beginning of our species, we will begin at a higher level, slightly. You see. And the human then, it would be very good for the human to live in accordance with this progress. In other words, don't rush things. When you go beyond what is fixed, what is set for you from the time of your birth, when you try to go beyond that, you see, people can create problems for themselves. And because of the human being's ability to think, and this so-called freedom of choice, combined with thinking, means that he can go beyond where he should be. And when he does it, it calls for a correction. We call that a regression. We have to go back. We'll be drawn back to where we should be. And then we can proceed from there, hopefully. Well, this comes as a result of the cerebral cortex driven by passion. When I say cerebral cortex, I'm talking about thinking. Thinking driven by passion causes people to go beyond where they should be. Like when you bite off more than you can chew, it's the same principle. So it would be advisable for the human being, the human species, you know what I mean, to function within the spiral. Don't try to go beyond what has been said. We're going there anyway, you know, because we make this little leap forward each time we come to the end of the spiral and start again. With the child, we make a little leap forward. It's just how fast we're doing it. When we get out of hand, we go too fast and take on more than we can handle. Then we have to go back and start, you know, get back where we belong, start over again. See? So, yeah, there probably is no finality for the human because we're functioning on this spiral progression, our species. You see what I mean? But there's the realization of eternity and the realization of living in eternity. And we have to talk about that, you see, because our ancient ancestors recognized this, okay? And this is more or less spelt out for us in the cartouche, or it is, the cartouche is the symbol in which we find the name of the pharaoh, his names, etc., his time when he came into the world and the various cycles, etc., that he will live through in this life. The cartouche, the king's name is in there, the pharaoh's name, and so forth. And it tells us of eternity also. Okay, we'll get with that. Okay, folks, subscribe, and I'll be getting back with you soon. I have a lot more to talk about. Okay, thank you, and bye.